What's up, everybody? My name is Rick, and today I'm going to be reviewing the late and great Kobe Bryant's book. The book is called Kobe Bryant, The Mamba Mentality, How I Play. And it has an introduction by Phil Jackson, the legendary coach, and photographs by Andrew D. Bernstein. Before I start this video, I would just like to say rest in peace to Kobe, Gianna, and all the other passengers and the pilot that were on the day of that fateful helicopter crash. Really, it was terrible what happened. It was horrible that so many people's lives were taken and legends were taken from us way too early. That was a day that for sure I'll never forget, because that was a fateful day. I mean, the world fell silent that day, and it's really crazy. It's really sad to think about it, but I think that the most important thing is that we keep honoring Kobe Bryant's legacy, and we keep continuing the Mamba Mentality legacy, and it's just important to keep on going and always keep Kobe in our thoughts. I'm not gonna act like somebody who's fake and who says, oh, I was a Kobe fan from day number one. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't watch Kobe a lot. I've always been a huge LeBron fan, so I've always watched LeBron growing up. I never watched Lakers games that much. I always watched Cavs. What I did used to do, I used to watch Kobe clips on YouTube. I did used to watch those because I loved watching some of his old highlights, the old Lakers highlights with him and Shaq. I loved watching those, but I'm not going to go out here and say I was a huge Kobe fan. I liked Kobe. I thought he was an amazing player. I loved him, and I thought he was amazing as a person, and I could not believe the accomplishments. He had an Emmy and an Oscar just a few years after he retired. I would say that I was a fan, and just rest in peace, Mamba. But let's get off all the sad stuff and let's focus on the book, which is in actuality, it's a really cool book. Kobe goes detail by detail, player by player, just talking about how he learned new strategies, about how he would play against certain players, about how he pushed younger players, and how he was pushed as a younger player to get to the point of where he was the lethal Black Mamba. And it has a lot of pictures, which, as you can see in the book, I don't know, I feel like there's a lot of these pictures which have not been put out on the internet, and just seeing these pictures while you're reading a book that is in first person, it really just adds to the vividness and sensoriness of the book, which really makes you feel like Kobe is there telling you what's happening rather than you are just reading a book. He talks about a lot of the people who are behind the scenes in his career who really helped, like Judy Sato, her right here, who a lot of people might not know who she is, but she was a really big physical trainer of Kobe's and who was really important. And another person named Gary who would really help him whenever he had injuries, as you can see right here. So he really makes sure to give credit to a lot of people behind the scenes who people might not know, but in reality who had a huge impact on his career. And I think that's just what made Kobe so great, is because he was always so humble, and he always knew that it was never just him, because he knew that in his career he got a lot of help from other people, and he makes sure to acknowledge all of that in this book. He talked a lot about his approaches. If you see here, he is talking to Michael Jordan about questions that he has during his first All-Star game. He talks a lot about those. He talks a lot about his recovery. Has pictures of him after games. He talks a lot about everything that shaped him to be who he was as a player. And it's really cool because you get into his personal routine, and I have to say, I mean, the pictures in this book are amazing. There are so many pictures, which, I mean, a lot of these have probably not been seen on the internet, and the pictures just really help add to the vividness of the book. What was one of my favorite part of the book is how Kobe goes a lot of player by players, and he would describe their strengths, their weaknesses, and what he'd do to shut them down on defense, because he always said that he prided himself on guarding the best player on each opposing team. So, as you'll see in the book, he shows you how he guarded Allen Iverson. He shows he talks about how he played against Hakeem the Dream Olajuwon, as well as Vince Carter and Tim Duncan, along with a lot of players who are still playing like Carmelo, CP3, KD, James Harden, and Russell Westbrook. Another thing that I love that he talks about is about his bond with Paul Gasol. And Paul and him were like best friends. And Kobe actually once said, he said, I was never friends with any of my teammates, but if I had to pick one that I am, it's definitely Paul Gasol. And he was actually godfather to Gianna Bryant. And Kobe says that in this book too, he says that Paul was his favorite teammate that he ever played with. And I love the caption here. It says, deeper than hoops, which is just beautiful because Paul and Kobe just had a really special bond, and I love that Kobe took time in his book to write about his brother like that. I really say like the biggest thing that this book focuses on is hard work and mindset, because Kobe made sure that he had a game with no holes. He even talks about that. He made sure that his offensive and defensive game had nothing that the opponent could exploit. He taught himself the fact that no matter what I'm doing, the basket does not move. So I do not need to see the basket to shoot the shot. I just need to shoot the ball the way I would shoot it if I was seeing the basket. And there we go, it's gonna go in. And that's why Kobe was time after time able to make all these tough shots, which most players would not have been able to, because he had that mentality that the basket does not move. Ultimately, just like I said before, this book boils down to the concepts of hard work and how if you work hard enough and you put in the time, you can do anything and everything that you accomplish. And not everybody's gonna become as great as Kobe Bryant, and that's obvious. There's very few people in life who can achieve what Kobe was able to achieve. But as long as you put in your work every day and you make sure to get the best of yourself and use all the 24 hours that you have the best that you can, Kobe just instills that fact that whatever you want to do is going to happen as long as you keep putting in that work. Real quick before I go, I would just like to say I have started a new YouTube channel called RJ Highlights, and where I do sports highlights. And I like to edit, so I just sort of use that channel as my creative output for my sports highlights that I make. So I'll give a link below in the description, and I really hope that you check that channel out. It is one of my growing passions right now, and right now I'm not taking it too seriously, but I'm going to start, uploading more frequently and trying to put more work into that channel. So just really do me a big favor if you could just go check that out. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.